The desert stretches endlessly under a sky full of brilliant stars. Young Joseph sleeps peacefully near a crackling campfire. He dreams of 11 stars, radiant and shimmering in the night. The sun appears, blazing with golden light, and bows before him. The moon, serene and silver, also descends in reverence. Joseph awakens, eyes wide with wonder, heart pounding. He recounts the dream to his father, Jacob, with youthful enthusiasm. Jacob listens intently, a mixture of pride and concern in his eyes. Joseph's brothers overhear, their faces darkening with envy. They whisper amongst themselves, plotting and scheming in the shadows. The brothers lead their flocks to the distant fields of Shechem. Jacob, worried, sends Joseph to check on his well-being. Joseph travels alone, a small figure against the vast landscape. He approaches his brothers, who greet him with false smiles. They seize him, their eyes filled with malice and resentment. His cries for help echo unanswered in the desolate wilderness. They rip off his coat of many colors, a symbol of their hatred. The coat lies discarded on the ground, stained with dust and tears. They spot a deep, dark well, its depths unknown and ominous. With cruel laughter, they throw Joseph into the well. He plummets into the darkness, fear gripping his heart. The cold, damp stone walls close in around him. He lands with a thud on the muddy bottom, alone and terrified. Above, his brothers gather, their faces hard and unforgiving. They debate what to do, their consciences momentarily pricked. Reuben secretly hopes to rescue Joseph later. Judah suggests selling him to passing merchants. They agree on this plan, silencing their guilt with greed. A caravan of Ishmaelite merchants appears on the horizon. The brothers flag them down, offering Joseph for sale. The merchants examine Joseph, haggling over the price. For 20 pieces of silver, Joseph's fate is sealed. He is pulled from the well, weak and disoriented. His eyes reflect the betrayal and despair he feels. The merchants bind his hands and feet, preparing for the journey. The brothers dip Joseph's coat in goat's blood. They return to Jacob, their faces etched with false sorrow. They present the blood-stained coat to their grieving father. Jacob recognizes the coat, his heart shattering with grief. "It is my son's coat," he cries, overcome with anguish. A wild animal has devoured him, they claim, feigning sadness. Jacob tears his clothes, mourning the loss of his beloved son. He refuses to be comforted, his grief consuming him. The brothers watch, their guilt growing with each passing day. Meanwhile, the merchants journey towards Egypt with Joseph. Joseph looks back at his homeland, tears streaming down his face. He prays for strength and guidance in the unknown future. The pyramids of Egypt rise in the distance, a symbol of power. Joseph's journey into slavery has begun. A new chapter unfolds. His dream of greatness seems impossible now, lost in despair. Yet, a flicker of hope remains, fueled by his unwavering faith. He remembers his dream, clinging to the promise it holds. The sun sets over the horizon, casting long shadows. Joseph closes his eyes, whispering a silent prayer. He resolves to endure, to remain true to himself. The stars emerge, twinkling in the night sky. He remembers the 11 stars bowing before him. A renewed sense of purpose fills his heart. He will survive, he will persevere, he will fulfill his destiny. The desert wind whispers his name, carrying his hope into the night. The well fades as Joseph is dragged away by rough hands. He looks back at his homeland, tears streaming down his face. The caravan snakes its way across the desert, a line of silhouettes against the scorching sun. Joseph arrives in Egypt, the bustling marketplace, a stark contrast to his quiet home. He is sold as a slave, his eyes filled with fear and uncertainty. Potiphar, a wealthy Egyptian official, examines Joseph with a discerning eye. Joseph is purchased and taken to Potiphar's grand estate, a world of opulence. He works diligently, quickly earning Potiphar's trust and respect. Joseph oversees Potiphar's household, managing servants and resources efficiently. Zuleika, Potiphar's wife, watches Joseph with growing interest. She attempts to seduce Joseph, her eyes filled with desire. Joseph refuses her advances, remaining loyal to Potiphar and his faith. Zuleika, scorned and enraged, falsely accuses Joseph of assault. Potiphar, torn between his wife and his trust in Joseph, is visibly conflicted. Joseph is unjustly thrown into a dark, cold prison cell. The heavy prison door clangs shut, echoing Joseph's despair. Inside the prison, Joseph finds solace in prayer and reflection. He encounters other prisoners, including the royal cupbearer and baker. The cupbearer and baker are troubled by strange dreams. Joseph listens intently as they recount their dreams, his brow furrowed in concentration. He interprets their dreams, predicting the cupbearer's restoration and the baker's execution. His interpretations prove accurate, solidifying his reputation within the prison. Years pass in the dimly lit prison, marked by routine and quiet contemplation. Joseph's faith remains unshaken, his spirit unbroken by adversity. He continues to offer guidance and comfort to his fellow prisoners. Word of Joseph's dream interpretation skills reaches the Pharaoh. Pharaoh is troubled by a recurring dream he cannot understand. The royal cupbearer remembers Joseph and tells Pharaoh about his abilities. Pharaoh summons Joseph from the prison, his curiosity piqued. Joseph is brought before Pharaoh, his appearance humble but his eyes filled with wisdom. Pharaoh describes his dream: 7 healthy cows devoured by 7 gaunt ones. He also recounts seeing 7 full ears of grain swallowed by 7 withered ones. Joseph listens intently, his mind racing to decipher the dream's meaning. Joseph explains that the dream foretells 7 years of abundance, followed by 7 years of famine. He advises Pharaoh to store surplus grain during the years of plenty. Pharaoh is impressed by Joseph's wisdom and insight. Pharaoh declares Joseph to be the most discerning and wise man in Egypt. He appoints Joseph as his grand vizier, second in command of the entire kingdom. Joseph is adorned in royal robes and a golden necklace, symbols of his new authority. He is given the task of preparing Egypt for the coming famine. Joseph begins to implement his plan, overseeing the storage of grain. He establishes a system for rationing and distributing resources fairly. The years of abundance arrive, and Egypt prospers under Joseph's guidance. Grain is collected and stored in massive granaries throughout the land. Joseph works tirelessly, ensuring the well-being of the Egyptian people. He becomes a beloved figure, respected for his wisdom and compassion. The 7 years of plenty come to an end, and the famine begins. Neighboring lands suffer greatly, but Egypt is prepared thanks to Joseph. People from all over the region come to Egypt seeking food. Joseph oversees the distribution of grain, ensuring that everyone receives what they need. His brothers, unaware of his true identity, travel to Egypt to buy grain. They bow before Joseph, fulfilling the prophecy of his childhood dream. Joseph recognizes his brothers, but they do not recognize him. He tests their character, observing their interactions and behavior. Joseph accuses them of being spies, demanding proof of their identity. They explain that they are the sons of Jacob, and that one brother is missing. Joseph insists that they bring their youngest brother, Benjamin, to Egypt. He imprisons one of them, Simeon, as collateral until they return with Benjamin. The brothers are filled with remorse, realizing their past sins. They return to their father, Jacob, with heavy hearts and troubling news. Jacob is devastated by the thought of losing another son, Benjamin. Years drifted by in the cold, unforgiving prison, Joseph praying, his faith unwavering. His gift for interpreting dreams became sharper, a beacon in the darkness. Word of his abilities reached the Pharaoh, troubled by strange visions. Guards rushed Joseph from his cell, the light blinding after years of darkness. He stood before Pharaoh, a humble prisoner facing the most powerful man in Egypt. Pharaoh described his dreams: gaunt cows devouring healthy ones, withered grain consuming full ears. Joseph listened intently, his mind racing, the divine gift flowing through him. 7 years of abundance, followed by 7 years of famine, Joseph declared. Pharaoh was astonished, recognizing the truth in Joseph's interpretation. "You are wise and discerning," Pharaoh said, impressed by Joseph's insight. Pharaoh removed his signet ring and placed it on Joseph's finger, a symbol of authority. He clothed Joseph in fine linen and placed a gold chain around his neck. Joseph was appointed Grand Vizier, second only to Pharaoh in power. He oversaw the storage of grain during the years of plenty, preparing for the famine. The famine struck, as Joseph had predicted, devastating the surrounding lands. People flocked to Egypt, seeking food from the well-stocked granaries. From Canaan, Jacob sent his sons to Egypt to buy grain, unaware of Joseph's position. Joseph saw his brothers arrive, bowing before him, fulfilling his childhood dream. He recognized them instantly, but they did not recognize the Egyptian vizier. Joseph tested them, questioning their family and their intentions. "Are you spies?" Joseph asked sternly, watching their reactions closely. They protested their innocence, describing their family and their youngest brother, Benjamin. Joseph demanded they bring Benjamin to prove their honesty. Simeon was held as collateral, while the others returned to Canaan. The brothers returned to Jacob, burdened with grain and the news of Simeon's captivity. Jacob was heartbroken, reluctant to let Benjamin go, fearing for his safety. As the famine worsened, Jacob relented, sending Benjamin with his brothers to Egypt. Joseph saw Benjamin arrive, his heart swelling with emotion. He invited them to a feast, seating them in order of their birth, astonishing them. Joseph secretly instructed his steward to place his silver cup in Benjamin's sack. As they departed, Joseph sent his steward after them, accusing them of theft. The cup was found in Benjamin's sack, confirming the accusation. The brothers were brought back to Joseph, their faces filled with despair. Judah pleaded for Benjamin's release, offering himself as a slave in his place. Joseph could no longer contain himself, overcome with emotion. "I am Joseph. Is my father still alive?" he exclaimed, revealing his identity. His brothers were stunned, speechless with shock and disbelief. Joseph reassured them, forgiving their past betrayal. "God sent me before you to preserve life," he said, offering comfort. He instructed them to bring Jacob and their families to Egypt. Pharaoh welcomed Jacob and his family, granting them the land of Goshen. Jacob arrived in Egypt, his heart overflowing with joy at seeing Joseph again. They embraced, tears streaming down their faces, a moment of profound reunion. Jacob lived in Egypt for 17 years, blessed with peace and prosperity. As Jacob neared his death, he called Joseph to his bedside. He made Joseph promise to bury him in the land of Canaan with his ancestors. Jacob blessed Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, adopting them as his own. Jacob died, surrounded by his loving family, his journey complete. Joseph mourned his father deeply, fulfilling his promise to bury him in Canaan. After Jacob's death, Joseph's brothers feared his revenge. They pleaded for forgiveness, reminding him of their father's love. Joseph wept, reassuring them of his continued forgiveness and support. "Do not be afraid. Am I in the place of God?" he asked, showing compassion. Joseph lived to a ripe old age, witnessing the growth of his descendants. He saw Ephraim's children to the third generation, a testament to God's blessing. As Joseph neared his own death, he gathered his brothers. "God will surely visit you and bring you up out of this land," he prophesied. He made them promise to carry his bones back to the land of Canaan. Joseph died at the age of 110, a life of faith and resilience. His body was embalmed and placed in a coffin in Egypt, awaiting the fulfillment of his promise.